Hey everyone, I want to talk about something really important today. Something that I learned the hard way about why trying to look rich is actually the fastest way to stay broke. And on the flip side, how looking poor and living below your means can actually make you truly wealthy over time. This isn't about being cheap. It is about being smart with your money, especially when you are in your 20s. I have made a lot of mistakes with money in my younger days chasing after what I thought was success. And let me tell you, it ended up costing me a lot of hard-earned cash and even more peace of mind. When I was in my early 20s, I fell into the same trap many people do. I was trying to impress others, trying to fit in, and trying to show the world that I was doing well. This meant buying things I could not truly afford. Things that screamed success, but were actually just draining my bank account. I remember seeing others with nice cars, designer clothes, and thinking that was the benchmark for being successful. I got caught up in that mentality, believing that if I did not have those things, I was somehow falling behind. Social media definitely amplified this feeling. It felt like every scroll showed someone with the latest gadget or a fancy vacation, making me feel inadequate if I did not have something similar. It is a powerful illusion that you need to own certain things to be seen as valuable or successful. But here is the harsh truth I learned. Looking rich is a debt trap. It is a constant game of trying to keep up with others, many of whom are probably also just pretending. And the really sad part, most people do not even notice or care about the things you are trying to show off. They are too busy focusing on their own lives, or perhaps trying to impress others themselves. I learned that the hard way, spending money on things I thought would bring me validation, only to realize that validation was fleeting and the financial burden was very real and very persistent. I used to chase after trends, buying new gadgets the moment they came out, thinking they would make my life better or make me seem cooler. I would upgrade my phone every year, buy clothes with brand names just for the logo, and even consider taking on debt for a car that was way out of my league. I thought these things would bring me happiness, but they never did. The excitement of a new purchase would fade quickly, replaced by the stress of the payments or the regret of not having that money for something more meaningful. It was a cycle of fleeting satisfaction and lasting financial strain. One of the biggest money pits I fell into was with cars. When I first got a steady job after college, I felt this immense pressure to get a grown-up car. My old reliable used car felt like a symbol of not quite making it. So I started looking at new shiny models. I remember almost signing up for a huge car loan for a car that would have eaten up a significant chunk of my monthly income. The thought of driving that car looking successful felt so appealing, but thankfully, a moment of clarity or perhaps fear stopped me. I realized that a car is a depreciating asset. It loses value the moment you drive it off the lot. And not only that, you have to factor in insurance, maintenance, and gas. All these costs add up incredibly fast. I almost made the mistake of trading in a perfectly good, albeit older car for something much more expensive. Purely for the image, the monthly payments alone would have been hundreds of dollars, money that could have been saved or invested. If I had gone through with that purchase, I would have been stuck with a financial drain for years. It was a close call, and it made me seriously rethink my priorities. I saw friends doing this, financing brand new trucks or luxury sedans, and while they looked good for a while, I also saw the stress it caused them, always worrying about payments and keeping up appearances. That experience was a real eye-opener for me, showing me how easily we can fall into the trap of material possessions. And it is not just cars. Clothing was another area where I made a lot of misguided choices. I used to think that wearing designer brands was a sign of success, that it would make me look more professional or more fashionable. I would spend exorbitant amounts of money on a single item only to realize that nobody really cared, or if they did, their admiration was purely superficial. I remember buying an expensive jacket thinking it would elevate my style, but honestly, a well-fitting, simple jacket would have done the job just as well and cost a fraction of the price. The real confidence comes from within, not from the label on your shirt. I learned that you can look perfectly presentable, even stylish, on a budget. It is about choosing quality over brand names and focusing on fit and practicality. Every dollar I wasted on trying to flex with designer clothes was a dollar that could have been invested, growing into something substantial. It is about understanding that true value is not in the ephemeral thrill of a new purchase, but in the long-term security and freedom that smart financial choices bring. I realized that people respect genuine confidence and substance, not just a flashy exterior. So, why does looking poor or living below your means actually make you rich? It is surprisingly simple. It allows you to keep your expenses low and your savings rate high. The less money you spend trying to impress people, the more money you can put towards building assets that actually generate wealth. This does not mean you have to be sloppy or neglect yourself. It just means you are not wasting money on things that do not contribute to your financial future. It means driving an older, reliable car, wearing clothes without prominent logos, maybe living in a smaller apartment or with roommates for a while everyone else is flaunting their new cars and expensive shoes. You are quietly stacking cash and investments behind the scenes. And that is how real wealth is built, quietly and consistently. Let me give you an example that really hit home for me. Imagine you are 22 years old, And instead of taking on a car loan or buying expensive clothes, you choose to live below your means and invest just $1,000 a month. That is not a huge amount. It is basically the cost of a car payment and some extra spending on material things. But it is $12,000 a year. Now, if you invest that consistently in something like the SP 500, which historically has returned around 10% annually, by the time you are 30, you would have nearly $150,000 invested. And here's the truly incredible part. Even if you never invested another dollar after age 30, that $150,000 would grow to over $1 million by the time you are 55. Think about that. Just by making different choices in your 20s, by choosing not to buy things you do not need, you could become a millionaire. That is the power of delayed gratification. Looking poor now means you can live truly rich later with genuine financial freedom and without all the stress. I am not saying you have to sacrifice everything or live like a hermit. It is about making conscious choices. You can still have a decent car, just maybe not the $50,000 or $60,000 one when you are making $60,000 or $70,000 a year. It is about understanding the impact of your spending habits on your long-term financial health. By living below your means and investing consistently, you are setting yourself up for a future that is dramatically less stressful. You will not be worrying about bills or struggling to make ends meet. You will have a substantial amount of money invested growing on its own, giving you an amazing sense of security and freedom. One of the hardest parts about this whole approach is the social pressure. Your friends might tease you for driving an older car or not having the latest gadgets. I have definitely experienced that. You might feel like you are missing out or that you are not keeping up. But honestly, most people are not paying as much attention as you think. And even if they are, their opinions will not pay your bills. What pays your bills is having cash saved, investments growing, and the freedom to say yes to opportunities because you are not broke. In fact, you will probably notice something funny down the road. The same people who might have laughed at you for being cheap in your 20s might be coming to you for financial advice in your late 20s or 30s. That is because while they were busy trying to look rich, you were busy building actual wealth. So stay focused on the long game. To win this game, you need to change how you measure success. Stop thinking success is the car you drive or the clothes you wear. Start thinking that success is freedom, it is options, and it is peace of mind. The person who spends their whole paycheck trying to flex might look rich on the surface, but they are probably stressed every single month, living paycheck to paycheck, burdened by debt, compared to the person who lives below their means, who might look average, but they are quietly stacking cash, investing, and building real wealth and power behind the scenes. If you can shift your mindset from short-term validation to long-term freedom, you will win this game. I personally drive an almost 20-year-old car, a Toyota Camry that my grandma gave to me. It has well over 100,000 miles on it, and yes, I have no car payment. I am 26 now, and I have been driving it for about 4.5 years. And let me tell you, not having a car payment has saved me a tremendous amount of money, which I have been able to put towards investments. I would much rather be what I call a wealthy loser than a poor winner. What I mean by that is, I would rather have someone walk past me and think, oh, that person looks average, or maybe that person is struggling, when in reality, I am doing incredibly well financially. I am living below my means, I am investing super consistently, and I am building quite a bit of wealth. I am investing in real estate, I am investing in the stock market, and I have a solid emergency fund of 3 to 6 months of expenses saved up. I would much rather be that person than to be someone who looks very rich, drives a really nice car, but is actually extremely stressed because their car payment is $800 or $1,000 a month. Their insurance is sky high. They are constantly spending money at clubs, or they feel compelled to always own the nicest clothes. I would much rather be the person where people look at me and think he is just average, when in reality, I am thriving. The alternative, where I look like I am doing well, but I am actually struggling a lot, is not a life I want to live. So the main takeaway here is this: looking poor. Now, by driving that cheaper car, wearing basic clothes, and avoiding the need to flex for approval is not about being cheap for the sake of it. It is about stacking assets while everyone else is stacking debt. It is about trading your short-term image for long-term wealth. And if you can stay disciplined in your 20s, you will be very shocked by how far ahead you will be in your 30s. Remember, it is not about how you look today. It is about the freedom that you will have tomorrow. That is why looking poor will actually make you very rich. I hope you found this video helpful and maybe a little thought-provoking. If you did, please give it a like and hit that subscribe button. I will see you in the next one.